And we are in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, overlooking this beautiful view of the city. And in this life, you're not supposed to allow life to just happen to you. You're supposed to get out in front of life, basically create the reality that you want to live in. Never settle is how I want to live my life and how I wanted to spread that message to other people. You could think of life as a tree. There's the solid part of the tree, and then it's got a lot of branches. Think of that solid part of the tree as your foundation. That's where you're growing up, and those branches are all the possibilities of what you can do and what's possible if you just branch away from the normal. Welcome back to the Never Settle podcast. I'm here with my boy Fuego, and we are in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. For the first time in our entire lives, we are in Australia currently, in the Airbnb, overlooking this beautiful view of the city. And man, it is so good to be back running the podcast with my boy here. If y'all don't know him, I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Let's go. What's up, y'all? I'm Fuego. You already know. So we're doing a podcast right now. Shout out to Never Settle.
Sir.
And I want to get to know a little bit more about you, your brand, and I want to be able to pick your brain today.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep.
Just before we even get started, I just wanted to say this was not pre-planned. I don't know what he's going to ask me. This is completely off the dome, and it'll be nice. So I'm excited. Let's get it rolling, man.
All right. Well, to start it off, first question. What does never settle mean to you?
That's a really good question. Well, what Never Settle means to me is before I had started making content and, going off with the whole brand name Never Settle in the first place, I always noticed in my life that a lot of people, I'm a very observant person. And from observing the world around me, I was noticing that a lot of people will settle for certain things. And maybe even not just certain things, maybe in all areas of their life, they'll just allow things to happen to them. And I noticed this from a very young age. I would go around and I'd see people, I'd be like, oh, well, why did this person settle with this person if they're clearly not happy with them? Or why did they settle with this job? Or why did they settle with living there? Or why did they settle with, just the life that they're living? It's actually funny that you bring that quote up, that question up, because I was in the gym the other day, just yesterday, and I looked at my phone in my notes app where I write down all the quotes. Yeah. And in the notes app was a quote that I had written down some time ago, and it was like, you don't, or how did it go? Something along the lines of, don't live the life that's given to you, go out and live life. Or something along those lines. I'd have to look at my phone and actually see what it is. Yeah. But it's like the whole purpose of the quote was to get in front of life. Don't allow life to happen to you, because that's when people settle. They settle for less when life just happens to them. And in this life, you're not supposed to allow life to just happen to you. You're supposed to get out in front of life and create the reality that you want to live in. So just to answer the question, never settle is just, it's how I want to live my life and how I wanted to spread that message to other people, to tell them, listen, we don't have to settle for living our life on substances. We don't have to settle for people we don't like. We don't have to settle for only one certain way of life that someone either tells you or what you think in your head. If you think in your head all your life, I can only live in Rhode Island for the rest of my life, well, that would be your reality. But in your mind, you're like, I know I should be somewhere else. If you have that feeling inside of you that you know you should be somewhere else, whether it be for the rest of your life or for a time being, don't settle for something that's comfortable, for what you know around you. Mm-hmm. And I see that too often, especially where I live. And that's like the whole reason why that whole thing came about, was the whole never settle thing, was because that's just where my mindset's at. Because I haven't grown up where I live my whole entire life. I've kind of been in a couple of different states and cities where I've lived. So I kind of don't just have that mindset of, let me just stay here the rest of my life, because that's just the card that was given me. I've seen people bounce from city to city, state to state, doing things in other areas and leveling up as well. you're not tied to one way of doing things. People think that this life trajectory is one solid, tangible line that you can see when there's a lot of other branches along that line. Yeah. You know, you could think of this life as a tree. You know, there's the solid part of the tree, and then it's got a lot of branches. You know, think of that solid part of the tree as your foundation. Yeah, the stem, that's where you're growing up. And those branches are all the possibilities of what you can do and what's possible if you just branch away from the normal. You know, that tree will never grow into a big tree and have all those different stems and leaves that grow off of that if you don't branch out. So, I mean, I don't know if I went too much on a tangent there, but that's, in a nutshell, what never settle means to me.
I have a follow-up question on that. Yeah. So, as you're saying, a lot of people are stuck in this mindset, right? So how can someone escape that mindset? And for you yourself, how did you begin to realize, like, there's more out there than just... It's kind of like the fishbowl theory. Yeah. Like, if there's a shark in a small tank, it can only grow to the size of the fish tank. Mm-hmm. But if it's in the ocean, it's going to grow to full size. Yeah.
Well, you kind of just answered a little bit of it right there with that analogy. I think the main thing that allows someone to branch out of that mindset, that, like, whatever you want to call it, small town mindset or limited mindset, whatever you might call it, I think the best way to be able to get out of that is to first get out of your comfort zone at least one time in your life. Mm-hmm. Even though, like I said earlier in the previous question, I was kind of born with that mindset, it doesn't really become that, like, mindset until you get out of your comfort zone. Yeah. And I haven't really talked about this too much in, like, an in-depth video about it, but that getting outside of my comfort zone was the Miami trip, the Alex Sedlak NFT event. Yeah. That was the first time in my life I decided, with no prior experience, going to somewhere that I didn't know where I was going. Exactly. Yeah. And I was just like, I got to step out of my comfort zone. And it was super scary, bro. I spent my last money on that trip. Like, that was it. I only had money allotted for the trip. That was it. And sent it, traveled by myself, stayed in an Airbnb by myself. And basically I went there with the mindset saying, like, listen, I'm going alone. This is uncomfortable. I don't know anybody, but I know that when I pull up there, I'm going to learn something. I'm going to possibly meet people. Mm-hmm. I didn't even say I was going to possibly meet people. It was, like, ingrained in my head. I'm going to meet at least one person, you know? One person that we can at least chill for, whether it be a day. Mm-hmm. But I planned the whole entire trip based off being alone. Yeah. I planned the heat game alone. I planned the Airbnb alone. You know, all my travel, all of it. Mm-hmm. All of it. So definitely stepping out of your comfort zone. I think all it takes is one time, and that mindset just takes off. Then you start to see around you something that's not familiar, something that's beyond what you know. Because you'll turn around, let's say your entire life up until, let's say, 18, right? From the time you were born to 18, you never saw a Lamborghini. Yeah. You step out of your comfort zone one time, and you see a Lamborghini driving down the street. So that changes your mindset from only seeing Honda Civics every day, being like, I can only get a Honda Civic. That's the best car I can get. Step out of your comfort zone. Next thing you know, you see a guy, you almost your age, driving a Lamborghini down the street. And you're like, okay, now that's possible. So now you've just expanded your area of knowledge, or area of vision, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. So to make it very simple and put it into a list, step one, get out of your comfort zone at least one time. And then...
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead. So
you say just to step out of your comfort zone, right? So how exactly do you make that choice? Like, when you're going to Miami, what went through your mind when you're like, I'm really scared right now. I'm about to travel alone for the first time in my life. I'm about to take a big opportunity. Yeah. How does someone think like that? And how do you, what would you say for someone that's in that situation where they're iffy about taking an opportunity that big?
Yeah. Okay, so to answer that question, it's tough. I think every person will go through that when they're about to step into something that they've never done before, or a just an out of your comfort zone experience. There's always that point that you get. It's like excitement, nervousness. It builds up to this singular point where it's just like you finally realize in your head, let me turn around. Let me not do it. I've listed down all the possible good things that could happen. You've kind of rationalized in your head all the bad things, but it's really not, anything bad and nothing life-threatening. Yeah. And you get to this point where you're just so like, I don't know if I should go. I don't know if I should go. I don't know if I should go. Like,
I saw a quote real quick. Okay, so the quote goes, what if it does work is what most people say, but then what if it doesn't work is what most people say, but then what happens if it does work?
No, yeah, that's 100% true. Yeah. It's like it builds up to a point where you just, in your head, you're like, this is too big for me. The lights are too bright. This is too out of my comfort zone. I'm not going to go. And I think if you get to that point, that's exactly when you should go. Yeah. Because like you said with that quote where it's just like most people think, oh, what could go wrong? But it's like, what if it goes right? Yeah. And for the most part, it normally goes right. And for me, a lot of the way that I live life now is just like, especially when you're in those situations where you're outside of your comfort zone, it's just like, when are you going to get the chance to do this again? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of points in people's lives where when they get older, they look back and they're like, what if I had done this? Well, we're all going to have those moments in our lives. I think there's no way of truly escaping that because there's so many different opportunities. It's like, oh, what if I took a right down the street instead of a left? It's like a butterfly effect. Yeah, there's gonna be moments in time that are like that. And you'll have to live with those. But there's certain things that we have pretty solid control over. And when you're faced with that situation, it's like, I could do this, or I could just continue with how my day's going. It's going fine, but I could do this. I always take that I could do this route because I'm like, what could go right? So. I don't really exactly remember the question, but it's like you have to go when you get to that point in time where you're like, I don't know if I can do this. Let me just not do it. Yeah. You have to do it or else you're just going to live with that fact like I didn't go. Like when it came down to that trip, I was like, I got to go. I got to that point where I was like, I don't know if I could do this. But I knew that doing that would be better than just staying at home and never experiencing that. And never meeting the people that I met. It's pretty insane because I stepped out in faith. I stepped out of my comfort zone. And what came out of that is unbelievable. It's value that I couldn't put a value on. Yeah. So whether and let me just say this. Let me just add to this because I'm going to say right now, it did go wrong. The trip absolutely went wrong. The NFT event, the NFT in general, failed. Like, the whole point of getting the NFT was to get it, have the utility, and hold it so that it became more valuable over time, have more events, people would want it, and the demand for it would go up, and in turn the price. Yeah. That flopped. But sometimes, even if something flops, a failure is a lesson. Mm-hmm. If something goes wrong, I feel like another thing has to go right. Yeah. It's one of those things where I don't know how to explain it, but they always say like everything's kind of always balanced. Mm-hmm. For how much bad and evil there is in the world, there's just as much good. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, the NFT event flopped, but look what came out of it. Mm-hmm. It was an amazing time out there. The event was amazing. The people that I met were amazing. The experience, I'll have that with me for the rest of my life. I could tell my kids, like, listen, I sent it there by myself, and look who came out of it, So it's like, yeah. As far as that goes, if you're ever questioning whether like you should step out of your comfort zone or if you should do it or if you shouldn't, just do it and see what happens, because Yeah. You'll never know unless you try.
Yeah.
You'll never know. So just do it. And then assess the situation afterwards. Don't put yourself in a situation where it's like you're about to lose the house. Don't, because some people take this one extreme to the other. They say, oh, I'm not going to do this, or I'm going to bet the house on this parlay or bet. Yeah. And it's like, no, don't go the extreme route. There's calculated risks. Yeah. I went to Miami alone, but it's not like I was alone. I knew I'd meet somebody. I knew I had money allotted for the trip. I knew that I could contact my parents if anything was going wrong, or contact somebody I may know, or get in touch with the police if it was that bad, Don't put yourself in a situation that you can't get out of, Don't, like I said, don't put your house on a parlay with the opportunity to lose your house and go homeless or win $1 million. Like that's don't put yourself in an either or situation. Put yourself in a situation right in the between. They call it hedging the bet. Yeah. Put yourself kind of like in the middle, but the middle more towards better than it is bad. Yeah. So, yeah, if you're in that situation and you don't know whether to pull trigger. See what happens.
It's good. Great answer. So I have a Batman reference right now. You know me, I love Batman.
Apparently, Batman Hill over there.
Yep. So this from the movie. I actually watched it on my way here. So I want your interpretation.
Interpretation.
Yeah. All right. You know what I mean. I want your of this quote. So in Batman, it says, "Why do we fall?" And it says, "In order to pick ourselves back up." So in talking about failures, not just success, what do you have to say about that? Like, what's your understanding of that?
I love that quote. Yeah. That might be one of my favorites. I didn't know that was in Batman, first of all. I've heard it before on TikTok, like in an audio or whatever, but yeah, I like it. My interpretation of that is absolutely needed. Failure is, first of all, I don't believe in failure, first of all, because failure isn't, there isn't failure unless you completely stop. Like, if you were to, start a business, the only way that business would absolutely 100% fail is if you stop trying to do the business. But I like the term fall better, because we have to fall, like you said, so that we can get back up. Yeah. I think if you never fell in your lifetime, let's take it to like a literal physical manner. Let's say you trip over a rock and you fall in real life. You learn to put your hands back on the ground, to push yourself up off the ground, to be able to stand back on your legs. Yeah. If you don't learn that ever, what would happen if you grew up really, really, really old, right? And you never did that, never once, and you fell, and you didn't know how to pick yourself back up. You would sit there and you would lay there and die, because that would be it. You wouldn't be able to get back up. You wouldn't be able to get back to where you need to go, eat, whatever. You just lay there and be like, dang, I can't get back up. So I think if you want to put that into more of a metaphorical sense now, if let's say you're chasing greatness, you're trying to succeed, you're trying to level up, whatever it may be. If you don't fall in the early stages of that, then you won't learn how to pick yourself up in that realm so that it won't die. So if that makes any sense, it's really good. It's a really good quote. It's all part of the journey. You have to fall. You have to learn to be able to pick yourself up, because if you don't, you'll never learn how to pick yourself up, literally, and you won't be able to get back on track and keep pursuing and keep progressing. So,
good answer. So I have a question. I believe in my mind, success is defined by yourself. Like, everyone has their own definition of success. Okay. Yeah. So what does success mean to you? And what does failure mean to you? If you want to elaborate on that.
I'll start with the failure one, because I think I kind of said it already. But yeah, I truly don't believe in failure unless you stop trying. Failure is very interesting to me, because people will be like, oh, I failed at this, I failed at that. And I'm like, you only fail because you stop trying. I think you can get to a setback point, or you can accept your losses at some things, or you say like didn't do too well at this, but if you stop trying, that's when you truly failed. As far as my definition of success, that's an interesting one. I try to ask myself the same question, like when I'm in the shower or whatever it may be. I think we all do. It's like shower thoughts and whatnot. But yeah, success for me is very interesting. It's kind of changed, I think, as most people it does. Because I don't have the same definition of success that I had 6 months ago, a year ago. It changes as you mature and you grow up. Right now, though, for success for me is, I don't want to say freedom, because I don't think there's any such thing as true freedom. Even if you're truly a successful person, let's take Iman Ghazi, for example, or any of the billionaires in the world, they're not truly free. They're still always tied down to what got them their wealth. Yeah. And now maintaining that wealth, that is also a responsibility in itself. The more money you have and the more assets you have, even though it allows you to kind of manipulate the way the world works in a way, you're never truly free, and you're always a slave to that wealth. Mm-hmm. Slave is a pretty negative term in that thing, but it's just how the world works. Money is fleeting. It's never a thing that we can grab and hold on to for the rest of our lives. We can't. It's a constant revolving door. So so you're never truly free, even if you're outside of the system per se. But my definition of success is being able to do what a lot of other people aren't able to do. Mm-hmm. To kind of put that into terms, there's a lot of things that people go their entire lives without doing. Let's say, for example, there's a lot of people that aren't able to buy groceries without worrying about how much it came to in their lifetime. Or there's a lot of people that don't get to ride first class in a jet because they were too worried about the price. Yeah. Or there's a lot of people that aren't able to travel to experience certain things in the world because whether it be price or even if they have the money for it, they don't have the time for it because they're a slave to whatever it may be in their lives that tie them down. It's never just money. It could be family. It could be children. It could be a job. It could be, just a lot of, or bad physical health. There's a lot of different things that tie people down. And I think being not tied down is a massive thing. Regardless, I wouldn't mind having a good paying job that allowed me to travel during the job. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you have to be completely just, your own boss and whatever. But yeah, my definition of success is just being able to provide those experiences, not only for myself, but for my family and friends as well. Yeah. To provide experiences that most people don't get to see. To not worry about the worldly things and be able to focus on the godly things, the spiritual things. I think success is having good money that you don't have to worry about the price of, good physical health, good mental health, loving people around you, and just being able to experience things. I think that we shouldn't live our entire lives having to worry about the price or not going somewhere or not, just things of that nature. But that's an interesting one. I might have to get back on that one because I think I gave a pretty good idea where my head is at on that one, but I think there's a lot more that can be said. But
I have a little game for you. So, you know how Kobe Bryant copied his game from Michael Jordan? Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I
actually didn't know. I thought they just had similar play styles, but
no, he copied him so he could be like him.
Oh, okay.
So for you, who would you say in life you've copied to be like? 3 people.
I really like that question. I really like that question. I have to put the first one, Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been reading the Bible a lot, and I know the way I've been acting on this trip and the things that I say a lot of the time don't represent who I truly am on the inside, because sometimes I get caught up in the whole, like, you know how it is, man. You get caught up in the world sometimes, and you get caught up, trying to save face for other people and, seem like you're something you're not. But that is someone I truly want to emulate, especially since it's all written down in the Bible. You can just read it and apply it to your life, and it's as easy as that. No YouTube videos, no podcasts, nothing. It's the same thing, no matter which version of the Bible you read, no matter where you read it. It's the same thing, and that's something I truly strive to emulate. Is him, Tom Brady, my number 2 mentor of all time. I think watching him growing up was like what he meant to me, and how I should apply what he did on the field to my life is just amazing. To just be calm no matter how bad the situation is. To give it your all even when you're the 4th string quarterback, not only on a college team but an NFL team, and to stay the course. What he said in his most recent podcast has stuck with me. Like, it's really stuck with me. And he said he was the 4th string quarterback on Michigan, and he only got 3 reps in practice. And he got to a point where he was like, I only get 3 reps. He was talking to his mentor at the time. And he's like, I only get 3 reps. How am I supposed to stand out when I only get 3 reps? And his mentor said, do the best darn job with those 3 reps, and you'll start to stand out. And so he would go out there and practice, and he would make those 3 reps the best, most on-point reps that he's ever done. And he would run into the huddle full of energy, telling the boys, let's go, boys, let's do this. Throw dots, all three reps. And then, like he said, those 3 reps turned into 6 reps. Those 6 reps turned into 9. Those 9 turned into 12. And then from that point on, he just started climbing the ranks. And that to me, and then the fact that you can just see how he applied that exact method to then going out into playing into 10 Super Bowls, and winning 7 of them. It's just, it's unbelievable, man. Like, accomplishing what he accomplished with the mindset that he had, and it was just, so that's good. Yeah, so that's number 2. And I think number 3 is like one I'd never expected to say, honestly, because I'd never expected to say it. Not in some ways, but in a lot of others, is my dad. I think even though our parents don't always do the best, and they don't always give us the best advice, or they think what we're doing is, not the way we should be doing it, or maybe they do, I don't know. But I think to have a father figure in my life, and to be able to show me what it's like to be a man, I think that's super important and not something to, leave out. There's a lot of things you can nitpick. There's a lot of things you could be like, well, he was wrong on this, or he's right in this, and, But I think having a dad there to tell you right from wrong, to tell you how to treat a woman, how to, just being a man. It's really, it's difficult. And I'm not here trying to cry or anything about it. It's just a part of the game. Like, we're used to it. We go about life. It's just how it is to be a man. It's the responsibility that we're given. And with that responsibility, we have to be responsible. And him showing me all the ropes basically is super important. Because there's a lot of guys out here in this world that, and I'm not saying I'm good. I'm not saying I'm the best by any means. There's a lot to be worked on, and I don't think we can truly be the best at being a man. I think it's, a constant journey. But I think him at least showing me like how to like mannerisms and just how to carry yourself and there's just a lot. Well, definitely a role model for sure. And sometimes you sit back and especially when you're alone, as you start to grow up as a man, you start to realize just how much it takes to be like a man in this world. Like everything's on you, and to see that, especially as I grow up, I didn't notice it back then, but I notice it now. It's like men have a lot of responsibilities, and to be able to take on those responsibilities and still, live a life and do your thing. It shows how much harder it is to be a successful man, but I think whether you're a successful man or you're not, as long as you have the core, you can do with that what you will. So definitely a role model to me and an inspiration in that way, for sure.
Great answers. Okay, so success is how you define it, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
And you'd say you're religious? Oh yeah. So I have a little bit of a.
I want to say, hold on. I want to make this very clear, because I hear this a lot and it kind of irks me. I don't believe in religion. I'm not religious. I have a relationship with Jesus Christ. There's a difference, because people will be like, "Oh, are you religious? Or are you spiritual?" It's like that's kind of like the worldly end of it, because people like to just be like, "Oh, that's religion." Just toss it. He just believes in whatever. But it's very specific what I am. But like, yeah, you could group me under Christianity. Yeah, sure. But I have a relationship.
Good answer.
I just had to clear it.
Yeah. So what would you say about, say, a billionaire that has basically freedom, right? But he's atheist. He's an atheist, so he doesn't have any faith. He kind of makes himself his own god. Do you think he's still successful?
I do not. He is successful by the world standard, but not by the standard that I live by. And I live by a spiritual standard. Yeah. But, it says in the Bible that it is harder for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven than for a camel to fit through a needle. And y'all know how small a needle is. It says that right in the Bible. So, that man is truly dead. I know it sounds crazy to people that don't understand it, but like, you can believe what you want to believe, but it's what I believe. And he might be successful in the world standard, but that man cannot take anything he's earned on this earth with him. When he goes, everything that he worked for, everything that he has on this world will either be turned into dust or given to someone else. So at the end of the day, you have to be more focused on your eternal destination than you are on worldly things. Yes, the worldly things are cool. I mean, there's a reason why we have everything around us that we have. God has given us the ability and the knowledge to be able to create what we've created. But to sit here and say that it's all us, that we've done all this, to say that is just, it's borderline disrespectful. No, it is not borderline. It is. It's like, I heard, I forgot who said it. But they say it's like worshiping yourself and just saying like God doesn't exist or God didn't create us and I'm my own God is like the creator of this Red Bull can, the factory that made the can, right? It's like worshiping the can instead of worshiping the creator of the can. You know what I mean? So a lot of people in this world worship the things of the world instead of worshiping the creator of it. It's like, isn't that a little tone deaf? It's like, how are you going to worship yourself instead of worshiping the person that created you in your consciousness? So, and that's how I view it. That's how I view it, and I love that quote. And yeah, so he's successful in the worldly standard, but he's not successful.
I have a little bit of a controversial question too. It's not too controversial, but
Hit me, I don't care.
What do you need out of your future wife?
What do I need out of my future wife?
Yeah, like what are you looking for?
That's not hard at all, honestly. I'm very specific with what I want.
Yeah.
I have very high standards, and people will flame you all day for that, tell you to lower it, blah, blah, blah. I don't care, because at the end of the day, it's the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with, the person you're going to wake up with, the person you're going to do this life with, you know? They're an extension of you, extension of, you know, the life that you want to live. So I'm very specific. Even when it comes down to looks, y'all already know. I'm not going to say it on here as far as like my type and whatnot. It could be very different. The person I end up with could not be my like type, but it has the qualities of that I want. First off, authenticity is huge. It's not just in my future wife and all my friends as well, but also my wife. So that pertains to that question. So 100% authenticity. That's something I absolutely love. I don't like people being there for fake reasons, you know. So authenticity, shoot, now it's got hard. I thought it was easy, but it's hard. But certainly authenticity is the first one. Definitely a relationship with God. Definitely. I can't be unequally yoked. It says in the Bible, I've gone down that road before, had a girlfriend that was not in the faith, and you can see how that turned out. And I went down a bad route, and that was because I knew what I was doing, and I still went through with it anyway. So, but yeah, definitely a woman of God, certainly. So I don't know if I could say too much more. I think those are the. I mean, unless you want me to get down to specifics, which is like obviously shorter than me, attractive, you know, at least to my standard.
I have a follow-up question.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to put it, because I can't really think of too many. I think under those two categories, it kind of speaks for itself. Matter of fact, even under the second category, the relationship with God, I feel like once they have that, the rest will follow, because that'll be the right person for you, and they'll have the authenticity, they'll have the trust.
I have a follow-up question. So it's getting harder for men to date nowadays, right? So what do you think men have to do in order to attract a good woman?
You just got to be on your stuff. You just got to be. I think doing this, it all boils down to this, because this is what I truly believe. But I believe that you have to be a man of the faith. You have to be a man of God in order to, you know, like we see successful men out here by the world standard that, you know, have it all, but they deal with all their different craps and have, you know, unfaithful women and all this stuff that they have to deal with. So, but yeah, being a man of God certainly helps. It gives you morals to stand on and a person in the Bible to literally follow and emulate. It allows you to be better. Yeah, certainly be a man that works out. Certainly be a man that works hard. Never be afraid to work, no matter what it is. If you go from being at the top of the top to next thing you know that you're cleaning a bathroom, you know, it doesn't matter. Never be too afraid to work. Never be too prideful to work, no matter what it is. A man that works is blessed, and God blesses the hands of the work that you do. So, yeah, definitely do that. Never be afraid to work hard. Educate yourself in any way that you can, whatever you see fit, but never be a stagnant man as far as growing your intellect and expanding your mind. Definitely be a man that travels, a man that gets out of his comfort zone as often as possible. Try your best to be as charismatic as you possibly can. Don't it's okay if you're a more introverted person. It's okay if you're an extroverted person. It's okay as long as you're not too prideful and not too afraid to be able to go out and meet new people and at least, because I'm not the most outgoing person. I'm certainly not. But I'm never too prideful or never too afraid to at least go out and attempt to meet new people, make connections, whatever it may be. So that's certainly a part of it. And I don't think I can think of anything else. I mean, once you have all of those things, the rest will follow, and I believe that you will, because being in exercising will put you in the best shape you can possibly be. Being a man of God allows you to have morals, a certain way that you carry yourself, a way to emulate, a way to act, a way to treat people. Being able to go out your comfort zone allows you to have experiences, expand your mind. That's a way of education in itself. Just educating yourself allows you to understand this world that is in front of us more and around us, and being able to learn more about that world and to be able to level up in that world, and to be able to, like I said, become successful and be able to provide the best that you can, because at the end of the day, that's what it's like being a man. That's what it is being a man. That's all it is how much value can you provide to the world. That's all it is. I mean, if you want to boil it down to literally one point, that's all it is to be a man. That's all people care about in this world. Other men, that's all other men care about. That's all women care about. That's all children care about, even though they don't really know that. Even though these people don't really know it, like, in front of their face, subconsciously, that's all we are as humans. What can we provide to this world? And if you're a man that provides nothing, you will get nothing. And I know there's going to be people that say, well, even if you're a successful man, they'll still get wives, and they still get girls, and they still, whatever. But it's not what you want. It's never truly what you desire. It's only what you can get, what you're given. It goes back to the first thing I said. It's like we be out here living lives that we get, not the ones that we go out and get. It's the ones that are like just happen to us, instead of going out in front of it and getting it. So that's what I believe you got to do.
I have two final questions for you. What do you believe is your plan to be able to impact this world, and what are you going to do to change the world?
That is a good question, and it all stems down to how I live my life. I believe the best way to do it is live by example. Mm-hmm. And I believe by me putting in the work, putting in the time, the effort, telling the world through this amazing thing that we have now called social media and the internet, and being able to sit here with a camera and not only be able to just speak between us two, but to be able to speak to the world at large at this point. Because back a couple of years ago, this conversation would only be held between us. Now it's broadcasted to the world. So I believe that just by me doing this, it could be a selfish reason. Like, I could just make content just specifically for me. But at the end of the day, me going out and doing this, because not a lot of people do this. Not a lot of people travel with podcast equipment and camera equipment, tripods, and all this. I went through hell and back trying to bring all this stuff. Like, it isn't easy. I had to carry more bags, more suitcases, take more stuff out at TSA, take it all out of my bag, do it again, have it go through the x-rays 3 times, wasting time, all this stuff. It's a sacrifice. Mm-hmm. But how else are you going to change the world? How else are you going to live by example if you're not making sacrifices in some sort of area? In order to provide value to this world, in order to change it, you have to kind of give up yourself in a way. Because if you're constantly thinking about only yourself, if I was thinking about only myself, would I be doing this right now? Like, no.
Because you want to impact others.
Yeah. I want to impact the world. I want to change it. I want to change the way people think. I want my mindset that's not given by me. It's given by God for me to be able to spread the message. Because I didn't just get this thought or this mindset. I want to be able to show people in this world how I think. And if it applies and it helps them to be able to level up, then perfect. And that's the way I want to impact the world, because by not focusing on me, because there's a lot of dudes out here, not just dudes, girls too, but I'm mainly speaking for the guys right now. There's a lot of guys out here that only think about themselves. They only think about getting the money and what they can do for their lives when they get the money. Or, like, just even if they're not focused on money, just how can I make myself comfortable today? How can I make myself feel good? How can I worship myself in some sort of way? And it's just like, does that change the world? Not at all. Not at all. It's actually a verse in the Bible. And this all stems to this. This is where my mindset comes from, literally from reading the Bible and just God just being like, yes, speak about this. But there's a verse in the Bible that says, in order to lead, one must learn how to serve. You must be a servant first before you can lead. And then once you serve others, you become a leader. Before just recently, I was so focused on how can I be a leader? How can I be a leader? And people in this world think that in order to lead, you must be selfish. You must be self-centered. You must be so engulfed in what you need and what you need to get, and only you, to the point where that's when you become a leader. That's when you become the CEO, the bad man. It's like, just focus on you. Be selfish, right? There's times for that. But I truly believe that being the servant that I am, being the servant of God, sent down to just spread the gospel, spread the good news, spread this mindset, spread positivity in the world by making those sacrifices, being a servant, carrying this stuff, and not just thinking about my own comfort, being like, let me just get on the plane and allow myself to travel comfortably, or allow myself to just work a job, and then once I get off the job, I can just relax and eat and watch sports, and instead of getting on TikTok, going live, making a videos. I posted 3 videos a day, every single day, or 2 videos a day, regardless, constantly editing, thinking about quotes, filming. Like, if I wanted to be comfortable, I could be on this trip just enjoying the trip instead of always like content. Like, I'm giving up myself to change the world. And that's where I stand on that.
I have a final question. So, it comes back to sacrifices. So I believe the greatest wins require the greatest sacrifices. So what would you say, because you're a 21-year-old that's in Melbourne, Australia right now. A lot of people don't have this opportunity. Yeah. You're running a brand. You have never settle. What are 3 sacrifices that you had to give up in order to be here right now?
Yeah, I think that's actually one of the easiest ones, because I'm constantly sacrificing in certain areas to be able to do what I'm doing right now. But the 3 sacrifices I've certainly made is time. I work a lot. Matter of fact, I really don't have free time at home. I go to work early in the morning. I get off, edit videos, work out, and then hop on live, or edit more videos, or read, or learn something. So certainly time is one of the sacrifices I've made. Another one is finances. I could have used the money for something else. This trip wasn't cheap. Yeah. So time, finances, and I think third one is a little bit difficult, because those are the 2 main ones. Third sacrifice would have to be relationships, really. That would have to be the third one. I think one of the main sacrifices that I've made is allowing myself to not really be seeing people, or I don't spend that much time with my family, or friends for that matter. Because it's just one of those things when you're chasing greatness and you're just trying to be better and trying to actually get things done, you have to make those sacrifices when it comes to having fun, or hanging with certain friends, or hanging with family. Don't neglect it completely, which I don't, but I'm certainly not there all the time. Actually, for the most part, I'm not. So that was the third sacrifice I've made to be here right now where I am. And there's going to be more of that. Yeah. It's part of this life. Certainly make time for them. Time can never go back. It can only go forward. So you have to prioritize that time sometimes. But for the most part, there has to be sacrifices made to get to where you need to be. to fulfill that calling that's been given to you. And yeah, sacrifices have to be made. So those are the 3 right there.
Say we wrap it up right there, and that was a good podcast. Yes, sir. Any final comments?
Not too many. I believe this was really good. Actually, I think the people really needed to know where I'm at, because I never make videos on myself. I only interview other people, or they might get a glimpse of my mindset, but not like probing questions like that, like details. Yeah. So I think this has been very insightful for the people that watched. I just want to say thank you for the people that have been rocking with me, and or us for that matter. If any of y'all follow, I know some people that watch me also follow Mason as well. Make sure to go follow Fuego. What's the plug?
Fuego podcast, or on my vlogs, Fuego.
Yep. Oh yeah, Fuego on YouTube.
Yeah.
Or TTP Fuego on Instagram, or Fuego One Official. I think that's what it is on Instagram as well. You didn't. You deactivated. Okay, but just just the people that rock with us, people that rock with me, y'all don't understand. I do this not just to hear myself. Why I don't do this just to hear myself talk. It's for y'all. Yeah. It's for y'all to listen to. So if anybody ever listens through, appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. Leave a like, man. Leave a comment. It certainly helps.
Yeah, comment down below how you could get started.
Yeah, it certainly helps the whole journey and everything a part of this, because we obviously want to get it on the algorithm and for more people to be able to see, so it can support the whole idea behind it. Sometimes you just got to take a deep breath. There's times to say things and there's times to be quiet, and I think right now is just a time to really, I think it's hitting me. It's really hitting me when I look at the way the sun is glistening on the water right now.
This view.
We're in Australia.
Yeah.
And I just want to say before this ends, there was a game. I used to play Forza Horizon 2 on the Xbox 360 back in summer 2014, summer 2015 maybe. And I remember driving through. I didn't have any money back then, so I had to play the demo. Mm-hmm. I couldn't buy the full game. And I was driving through, and I was listening to this song called Brighter Days on one of the radios, or on the radio stations in the game. I was driving the yellow Lamborghini around the map.
Your favorite car.
Yeah. And I was like, the game wasn't set in Australia, but I remember thinking, wow, this is a tune that you'd be playing while driving around in Australia. And I never thought I'd be here. I never once thought in my life that I would ever travel to Australia. Matter of fact, it wasn't even a thought. I was just like, it's chalked. It's done. I'll never go there, right? And here I am doing content. When I was younger, I used to be like, I'll never make content. Mm-hmm. I just thought it was ridiculous. And then here I am making content with people I never thought I'd meet. Yeah. I just want to say that you, Mason, and Ethan are answered prayers. I don't think y'all know that, but it's wild. And all the people that I've met along the way. It's really hitting me, man. It's really hitting me. We're in Australia. And it's just, God is great.
Yep.
God is great.